This card is pretty fucking weird, but pretty cool. Couple cards like this that start off as a thing and then they flip into another thing. And the thing they flip into is a land later in the game with some absurd, ridiculous abilities. Welcome in, much love, Trav here. Hope you're doing amazing. Hope you're doing awesome. If you're going through a good time, great, keep that going. If you're going through a hard time, I get you, I understand you. You've been with me, you've seen me go through some deep shit and come out of it stronger and better. You know, best year and a half of my life. Fall the hardest year of my life. So, if you're having a hard time, just think about that and put in the work and you will come through it. You want more inspiration, motivation, make sure to check out my other channel, Travis Wu. Okay, so back with some more low-hanging fruit, card reviews, something really easy to do, something I have the time to do, and something to keep the content flowing, and also something useful for me as I evaluate for my next upcoming tournaments. I'm not playing in many tournaments this quarter, just GP Phoenix and the Pro Tour. So it's important that I do well, right? And in order to do well, I want to get an early jump. I want to look at things in depth. I want to think about things. So in order to do that, we're going to evaluate this new mechanic and this card, Conqueror's Galleon. So this one's really interesting. And I'll say off the bat, I don't think this one, maybe Treasure Map or whatever is a constructed card. This one is not. This isn't a standard card. But it could tell us some interesting stuff about the way that Limited is going to go. So we have a 4-mana 2/10 vehicle. Has a lot of butt. Crew 4, you have to tap power with 4 greater to attack. And then it flips. So before you even flip, you have to play a 4-drop. You have to crew it for 4, which is like 4 mana worth of creatures. And it's a 2/10. And it attacks, and all you get from that is a land. So that's a pretty big investment. It's going to slow you down. It's a little bit clunky. So what does the land do? So, for one, it's going to ramp you if you haven't missed a land drop. Now you've got another land in play. Great, but you spent a lot of resources to get this land out. And what does it do? 2 mana, draw, then discard a card. 4 mana, draw a card. 6 mana, return target card from your graveyard to your hand. What's interesting to me about this card and cards like this is it's so tempo negative. It's so tempo negative. You're spending a bunch of mana for the reward that you can spend a bunch of mana. So if you're trying to race, this is going to be awful. If you're going to be slow, you have to flip it, right? If you're going to be trying to beat down, this is going to be poor, right? It's not going to be good in hyper aggro Kaladesh mirrors or hyper aggro Amonkhet mirrors or whatever. But if things slow down a bit, if it's a little bit of a slower format, this thing will win the long game, right? If both players are stalled out, you return a card from your graveyard to your hand every other turn while casting those cards, you're going to win, right? You use this ability a couple times, you're going to win. So, from what I've seen of the Limited set, I'm not sure, haven't really seen the 2-drops, and that's a big key to how aggressive a format is. We do have the raid mechanic, which rewards you for attacking, which make things a little bit more aggressive. See a lot of flyers, a lot of menace and stuff like that. So it's unclear to me how playable this card is. It's just so clunky. It's one of the clunkiest cards I've ever seen in my life. But again, if the format turns out to be a little bit clunky and slower, then this is a bomb that will at least win the game. So, given a board stall, there's been a lot of formats where board stalls are common. Recently, that hasn't been the case. But if this is a board stall format, this card will be great. Worst case scenario, or what I see with cards like these often is, you either are going to start it in your main deck and then side it out versus the super aggro stuff, or you're going to start it in your sideboard and side it in versus the slow control stuff. Because against a slow control deck, if you're able to get Conqueror's Foothold out, you get your foothold in the door, that's game, right? If they can't, I'm talking non-nickel bolas control, something a little bit slower. If they're trying to grind you down, you can't outgrind Conqueror's Foothold. But you can win through it pretty easily if you're going for speed. So those are things to think about. I'll come back to review the whole set once more info is out. Pretty interesting stuff. I gotta run now. Again, hope you're having an awesome day. I hope that I'm not going to say that you don't have problems. I hope that you have the strength to conquer those problems and move on. So, appreciate you, and look forward to hearing what you have to say in the comments. Peace.